October, July.
October, July.
I was walking outside yesterday, the weather was
Okay, the very first section of our notes asks us if we have a polynomial function. Now, I'm going to tell you that A is not a polynomial function. Can you tell me why you think that might be?
There's only, actually,
The negative exponent. Polynomial functions cannot have negative exponents. Remember, a negative exponent means it goes to the denominator, right? And you cannot have, if you're polynomial, you can't have x's in the denominator. So no negative exponents, because that means x's in the denominator. Now, I'm going to tell you that b is not a polynomial. Why do you think that is?
Because there's only one term.
No, you can have one term.
Oh, really? The square root.
You can have one term. But you cannot have a variable under a radical. Polynomials must have whole number exponents. And a fifth root of an x to the fourth would be a 4/5 exponent. So far we got two rules. We can't have negative exponents, and we can't have x's under a radical. Okay? C is a polynomial. D is a polynomial. E is a polynomial. Now, somebody might say, wait, there's a fraction. Fractions are okay. What isn't okay is an x in the denominator. Okay? So you can't have an x in the denominator. That would be like a negative, can't have a negative exponent. And you can't have an x under a radical, because that would be a fractional exponent. So no fractional exponents, no x's under radicals, no x's in the denominator, no negative exponents. Jimmy, is everything okay?
Good.
Okay. Let's lock in, dude. All right, number 2. Write the equation for the linear function given f of 2 is 3 and f of 4 is 11. You have done this problem since at least 9th grade, maybe before then. Because this is just a fancy way of saying write the equation of the line through these 2 points. Did you recognize that's a point? What point is that?
3/1. Oh, sorry. It's 3.
2 comma 3. And what point is this?
I'm laughing at class.
Kids, when you write function notation, isn't that function notation? What's in the parentheses? X. So x is 2, y is 3, x is 4, y is 11. I'm going to write the equation of a line, so it's the first thing I need to do. The slope is 4.
Yep.
And then what?
Point slope.
Pick point. I'll just use this one. Y minus 3 equals 4x minus 2. Now, you have to be careful if we're literally doing the problem. It says write the equation of the linear function. So that means I should have this kind of notation, right? Remember, that's y equals, so I gotta get y by itself here, so that I can write it as a function. I can't put it in for x right here, I have to have y by itself. So, y minus 3 equals 4x minus 8. It looks like my function, my y equals 4x minus 5. And that is your linear function. That is your line. Now, you and your partner, you be right now, you be exactly the same problem. So your points are negative 2, 0, and 6, 4. All right, go. Write the equation. Looking at Monica's paper that's sitting right here in front of me, and she says f of x equals 1/2 x plus 1. What do you think? I agree with her. So you didn't get that, try again. Try again. All right, the next set of questions ask us about quadratic functions. We spent time on this. This is a parabola, right? Okay, this is a parabola. You gotta find its vertex. So in your BFF, y equals x squared, this is what it looks like. How has that one been moved? It's going to be upside down. Let's talk about the move, first of all. Move has gone down 4 and left 1. Old news, folks. We know that already. So this vertex is at -1, -4. And you told me that it opens down because of that. This line right here is called its axis of symmetry, or its line of symmetry. What would be that line? What's the equation of that line? X equals -1. Why is it x equals? Because it crosses the x-axis. This right here is called the vertex form of the parabola, because if the parabola looks like that, you can literally look at it and see the vertex. Left 1, down 4, right? How about the next one? Where's the vertex of the next one? Right 3, so 3, 0?
Yeah.
And this one opens up, because there's no negative, right? What is our axis of symmetry? Don't say 3, you gotta say x equals 3. The axis of symmetry is a line, so it's an equation. All right, how about C? Where is your vertex? -3, 10. So left 3 up 10. -3, 10. Which way does it open? It opens because it's not in vertex form. So, problem 4 says we're going to rewrite this thing in vertex form. So vertex form, remember, looks like this. This is what I'm shooting for, something that looks like that. So here's what I want you to think about doing. Would you all agree that if I'm going to put it in vertex form, I'm going to have some quantity squared? Right? So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add the 3 to the other side. And remember, can I move it back later on if I want to? Yeah, so I'm not going to worry. I'm just going to add it to the other side, get it out of there. Then I'm going to take the x part and I'm going to factor out the -2. So I'm going to have x squared minus 2x. Would you agree with that? So far? And then I'm going to put a plus blank because I need to make this into this. So I'm going to complete the square and figure out what's going to go in that blank. So who remembers how we do that?
Divide the -2x by 2.
Squared. So -2 divided by 2 is 1. Well, -1, but it doesn't matter because I'm squaring it, so it's going to be 1. So I'm going to add a 1 here. Now here comes the tricky part. I added something to this side of the equation. So I must add it to the other side. Be careful. I didn't add 1. I know I put a +1 there, but that +1 is really a -2 because it's inside of parentheses being times by -2. So I need to add a -2 to this side over here. So in other words, if I had put a 4 here, that would have been a -8. So you've got to make sure that you are distributing that number to whatever you put there. All right, so now here's my -2. What is this? This should be x
Oh, x
minus 1 squared. And over here, when I add that together, I have y plus 1. And now all I need to do to make it work like that is move that 1 back over. So -2, x minus 1 squared, minus 1. Move that number back over there. So what's my vertex? Watch it. Right 1,
Yeah.
down 1. 1, -1.
Where's the 4?
14. That was my example.
Oh,
That's
yes,
not
okay,
the
sorry, I
one.
was looking
This one had a 3.
Yes,
that we
yeah,
did here.
I accidentally wrote it.
All right. What's my axis of symmetry? Feel free to draw it if you want to. 1, -1 opens down, so x equals 1, and it opens down. All right. All right, let's tackle the next one. Is your job. Your job is to put this in a vertex form. So tell me what you want to do. You do different things. Just gotta make it in vertex form. So what's your thought? I move that 1 to the other side. That think it's a good idea to get rid of it. You don't absolutely have to, but it sure makes it easier just to move it. Now, what's your objective? Isn't your objective to get something like this? So we're gonna have to get rid of that 1/2. So I'm just gonna factor it out. Now this is gonna give some of you the willies. Okay, now wait, I heard a 3. That's okay, it's a guess. But if I put a 3 here, is 1/2 times 3 gonna give me 6? No, 3 isn't the right number. What does this have to be? 12. Why is it a 12? Because factoring is division. When you factor something out, you divide it out, and dividing by 1/2 is the same as dividing by 2. 1/2 times 12 is 6. I had some. So what am I going to be adding? 1/2 of 12 squared, 36. But I didn't really add 36. I wrote 36, but I really only added 18. That's the gotcha. That's going to give a lot of people. You got to really be on your toes. So then what's my square here? This should be a perfect square. X minus 6. And over here I have y plus 17. So the last step, I'll move that 17 over. And now my parabola is in vertex form. And where's vertex? 6, negative 17. And it looks like it's gonna open up. And the axis of symmetry will be x equals 6. All right, one more of these, and then next time I'm gonna show you a little easier way to do it. One more of these, old fashioned. Wrong way, here we go. Y equals 3x squared plus 12x. No number to move. So I'm gonna start by factoring out the 3 and figuring out what I have to add. Would you agree with that? So what do I need to add? 4? But I'm really adding a 12. So y plus 12 equals 3, x plus 2 squared. Did I do that too fast? Erica?
How'd you get the 4?
Half of 4 is 2 squared is 4. That's how we complete the square. Remember? And then the last thing I'll do is move that 12. So where's my vertex? Where's my vertex? Negative 2.
Oh, yeah, negative 2.
Negative 12. Remember, this means left. Graph it if you need to. That means left. Negative 2, negative 12. Opens up. And your axis of symmetry is x equals negative 2. Right. Right, I forgot to take that. Right, so I grade in and thin. Are they equal to? No, yet, so I'm not gonna assign it, although you could probably do a couple of them, if you were so inclined. Yeah. Oh, wait, we got 5 more minutes. Shoot, I thought we were done already. Stop. We're ready. Let's look at number 5, so I'll show you the shortcut right now. You may have learned this last year. There is a little formula. Here is a little formula for finding the axis of symmetry. The axis of symmetry formula is x equals negative b over 2a. Have you heard that before?
Yes.
Negative b over 2a. Now, the a and the b are the same a and b that you would do if you were doing the quadratic formula. So a is negative 4, b is 16, and if I needed it, c would be 3. So my axis of symmetry is negative 16 over negative 8, which is 2. I want you to think about that for a second. The axis of symmetry is x equals 2. I don't know where the vertex is yet, but isn't it be somewhere on this line?
Yeah.
So my vertex will have an x coordinate of 2, and then to find the y, we'll just plug in 2. So watch it. 2 squared is 4. So negative 16 plus 32 plus 3. I put in 2 for x. And that is 19. So my vertex is 2 comma 19. My axis of symmetry, I used the formula for, and got 2. And this guy obviously opens down, because that coefficient right there is negative. All right, let's try B. Last one. So we're using the formula. So x equals negative b over 2a. We are grown-ups, we can deal with this. 6 divided by 2/3 is 6 times 3 halves, which is 9. So x equals 9. So your vertex, this is your axis of symmetry. X equals 9. Your vertex is 9 comma something. And how do we find the something? Plug in 9. So 1/3 times 81. I got negative 26, but I did the total wrong.
That's your negative 26.
That right?
Yeah.
So, axis of symmetry from the formula was x equals 9. Vertex was 9, negative 26, and the direction of opening is up. Got it? Alright.
How are it?
Well, I've only graded it